munching on chips
So
and
appetite,
sugars,
yeah.
appetite, and the wrong things, and those affects big time. So that what made to fall them off. We had to untangle that before because that was they doing hardly on the weekends. Rest of the week, kind of, day was off, and Saturday, Sunday, that was off the rails usually. And then it was like, but I'm good all days. I was like, yeah, but like those days when you're catching up on those two, your appetite's so high because you just
Destroy the whole
shoveling
week.
in another extra 2,000 calories every day, and that takes out us of deficit the whole rest of the week.
Let's see what songs we're gonna start on.
Boom, 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 boom.
One, two, 1, 2.
Bop, 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 bop.
Test.
How was that?
All right.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hello, Andris.
Hey.
How are you, man?
All good.
Keeping well, yeah?
Yeah, thanks, man.
Welcome to the podcast. So, just to start, very easy about something about your background. If you can say something about yourself. How did you become a personal trainer, and how was your journey until you got to this point? Something interesting about you.
Interesting. I'm not sure how deep you want me to dive in, but yeah, I've been training. I'm originally from Latvia, so once I came here, I wasn't a PT. I've been here for 8 years now, and I actually decided once I was here, actually, I want to become a PT, like personal trainer. From the beginning I think it was the idea that I was training myself classic, and I was like, oh, I love to train, so people asking for advice, so probably I would be a good trainer. Wrong. But yeah, I took that path. I started actually I wasn't sure is my English so good, so I started to taking up work in customer service to improve my English in Zara.
Yeah.
So I would be forced one-to-one, face-to-face, communicate with people, and not on the course level. You know, it was like usually they saying the course, what you finish in your language only understands people who was in that course. So it's like really plain technical language. So I wanted more so slangish, street level, like normal communication level of language. That's all. Yeah, I was like, I think I grounded there for a good few years, improved my English, finished the PT course, and never looked back. And happily so. I mean, there have been, to be honest, like, yeah, I wouldn't lie that there was been points where I've been good few times wanted to pull out and just give up PT, only because it wouldn't be like people over romanticize, glorify things. It was like, don't probably talk so much how much effort actually it takes and you need to put in as being fully self-employed. It's not something you show up and it was like, hey, I'm here. Where's my hours? Where's my money? And yeah, it bites back at some point when you a little bit relax, and a lot of things would be like your personal stuff, knowledge. A lot of things could fall in a way and things wouldn't work out in some gyms, maybe wrong collective. The vibe wouldn't be that one. You wouldn't fit in. Clients wouldn't be the ones what would suit you the best, and you just have to. All I can say for everyone who ever struggles, just stick to it, keep on going, find a different way. It's like nothing wrong with you. Like if you have open mind and are willing to learn, and you don't fall into those few ones. I know everything. I know better. It's like you're gonna be good. Just be genuine and go for it. There's always people who needs help. Especially these days, people can afford a PT, and a lot of them realize they can benefit and improve their lives with it. And we are there to help them. And oftentimes it's way beyond reps, sets, and kgs.
So what is it about?
It's more so everyone, a lot of people would come in and was like, cool, I can get everything on YouTube. I was like, yes, you can, go for it. It was like, there's a lot of information, and at the same time, there's a lot of misinformation. And I wouldn't say that people brings in misinformation. It's the language what's been used, and there is always on every topic. I'd say when people ask the question, it depends as an answer. It's not like black and white.
Yeah.
And when people say something, I was like, oh, cool. Low carb diet is good, or high protein diet is good. What is true, but it depends. Again, that's why it's called personal training.
Yeah.
There's some golden benefits, obviously, like same as in exercise. There is compound movements, what is golden basics. But can you go without them? Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's again, it was like, so when people is saying, it was like, oh, you must follow this. And then people would be really religiously sticking to those things and forcing them kind of. And people who is not really into the fitness, they would get scared away and they would never find the joy into movement. And some of them would never need even to, let's say, pick up dumbbells. They would be okay actually working out with TRXs, getting runs, and body
bands.
weight, resistance bands. Yeah. And obviously, I don't think so. It's the way, but some of them would feel like that's okay for them, and they would, from where they comes forward, and most likely they might, after that good few years with only, let's say, working with those accessories, they might progress forward. But you don't have to force those things, and some people who is not in. I just have found, like, if you can find a way how not to overcomplicate but simplify and make it more enjoyable and fun, that's where I see always results and long-term results. So people actually would not just to come, show up, bring me results, I'm out of here, and once we finish, they're not doing it because it's hard and complicated, rather than finding some type of routine what you enjoy. I would usually discuss with them as like, give them 3 exercises for the lower body. We need some hip hinge, we need some knee bend, so quad moving, glute involved, and it was like whether that's reverse lunge, walking lunge, some type of squat pattern, like the one what they can repeat and are able to get stronger. Let's work on that, and then somewhere throw in and see, is those things what you really don't like. There's usually a reason why they don't like them. They're bad at
Usually they're not good at it.
Yeah, and
they
then
should
just
be doing it.
Yeah, exactly. And then just was like, okay, let's first get a little bit stronger, gain some stability, and then get into it slowly just to try it.
That's where the education really comes in from personal trainer or fitness instructor, to see, either the personal training client or participant in a group fitness exercise, and to be able to educate them why they need what they need. Because if I go to car mechanics, I don't expect to know and analyze my car. I bring the car there and they should find faults and make sure I'm safe. I'm not expected to know. I expect them to tell me what I need.
Yeah, that's true. But like, if people have resistance, I was like, oh, I hate this exercise. And that's the first thing usually for me, like a little smile. I was like, I'm just noting this down. This is what we're going to do. Because you hate it. It was like, and more, like 99% of them is like, because I noticed with myself, so, why I don't do that one? I'm just shit in it. It's like, I'm not good at it. So I started to do it, like some type of regression form, and then you slowly progress into it. And it rolls down. It was like few months after, I was like, hey, where's my favorite exercise? I used to hate it so much. And then you say them, it's like, yeah, remember you hate it?
Yeah.
I was like, that's exactly why we was doing it, just to get better at it. And then you realize, like, you don't hate it, it's just you wasn't good at it.
Yeah.
Just a confidence.
There's one thing I wanted to ask. When you have people who are obese, someone who is, let's say, over 120 kilograms up to 140 kilograms weight, and it's low, even though they lost like 10 kilos, it's stagnation and it's taking slow. What would you recommend to those people who just can't seem to get those last 20, 30 kilos? Like, is it mental? Is it planning? Is it nutrition, exercise? But when you see someone is really improving, exercising, regularly, and still, is there a secret method for that sort of like very resistant? Is it metabolic syndrome? Is it some kind of whatever it is? So do you have some tips on that?
Yeah, I would really look into with those people in as well. I would ask them usually to do the blood work for themselves, same as you bring the car to the mechanics, to the NCT, to see what's happening with the hormones. Is not responsible. It's the calories what's responsible. Still though, some of them tend to have a really high estrogen and really lower testosterone. But you would see that by the body as well, to be honest. Like they would be
So what
really
that would be?
soft hanging. They would look. They would be usually. I got it, to be honest, 2 guys who was like that, but you could see by the body. So it came out. They were drinking a lot of beer and alcohol, smoking weed. So that affect that hormonal aspect on it. So probably from the weed would hit, and beer would make you a bit more hungrier. They would overeat. Munching on chips,
so appetite,
sugars, appetite, and the wrong things, and those affects big time. So that would made to fall them off. We had to untangle that before because that was they doing the hardly on the weekends. Rest of the week, kind of, they was off, and Saturday, Sunday, they was off the rails usually. And then it was like, but I'm good all days. I was like, yeah, but like those days when you're catching up on those 2, your appetite's so high because you just
destroy the whole week.
in another extra 2,000 calories every day, and that takes out us of deficit the whole rest of the week. So those weekends tend to be like, even for going out and drinks, it was like, if you I can have pizza, you can have everything, but not all of it. Like you can have everything by a little bit. Just pull yourself back if you're on a mission. If you're not in that position, it was like, don't restrict yourself. But if you're on a mission, it was like people around you will be saying it's good, it's fine. It was like, they're not in your position. They've never been there for years. There's like, accept yourself as you is. It was like, I can't accept myself as I am. I'm here for the change for a half year. I'm on a journey.
Yeah.
Those people should like support them a little bit and understand. It was like, I know it's like tendency in culture. It was like, accept yourself and everything. But those people couldn't accept themselves. They wasn't probably for the years before like that. And then they turn it by the bad habits into something what they're not willing to look into the mirror. So for those ones, definitely would be sometimes we would have to really, really break down, sit down, and was like, what we are eating, where is our energy expenditure? Because it doesn't stop just like that. Obviously, your metabolic rate would adapt. Metabolism will slow down. If you started from 2,000 calories and you was losing, let's say, for 2 months on 2,000 calories with your current training, whether is existing or not, and activity, it would adapt a little bit to that one. So you probably lose 2-3 kgs. Your body weight is lower. That lower body weight requires a little bit probably less energy to spend. You're lighter. It's like small difference, but it is. And then you stagnate at some point, and you have to look then really deeper in. It was like, cool. Am I really strict with those numbers with the diet-wise, or I am like more or less? If you are approximate, the results will be approximate. If you're looking for specific results, same as in training or in fat loss, you have to do specific things. You have to be way, way stricter. There's a lot of approaches being people who I stopped to do. To be honest, I stopped to do and give meal plans.
Why?
People I've been seeing only 2-week results, and then they're falling off. They would be like, I don't really eat those things. I was like, okay, let's
it's hard to keep that, isn't it?
Something else. I was like, yeah, because once you go through what they eat in general, there's some 60% of it. It's absolutely fine. It's mostly proportions, not exact foods.
Yeah.
So you would need just to adjust that one, the proportions of it. And it was like, when you choose to do what you have for the breakfast, you just have porridge oat. I have it for the years. I was like, grand, but those carbs wouldn't be so beneficial as the amino acids in the morning. Like a protein replenishment. It's not like you are used all your carbs during the sleep. It's more so protein being more
used up for repairs,
yeah. And that's what you would need for. And then it helps, that first big hit with the protein in breakfast helps with the appetite, satiety. And once they manage that, usually I'm giving them second, third meal to manage. And usually they would aim for higher protein intake.
Yeah,
I would give them anywhere 2 to 2 points, even sometimes it's ridiculously 2.5 grams per kilogram. They
body weight
don't,
or just of muscle mass? Of body weight or just muscle mass?
Body weight.
Because if somebody's more overweight, so you mentioned the other day we were chatting, and I was trying to extract some good info from you, so I called you, and so you said the protein is thermogenic, so the more protein you eat, like 40% of it goes.
No, not 40. Up to 20% would be used just to process it. Yeah, so good few hundred calories from your 2,000 calories, at least 2 to 400
so
calories.
what's the benefit then for people who want to do weight loss and eating such a high amount of protein is like they will definitely feel much more satisfied. They will not
satiety,
eat so
yeah,
much.
because that would affect your blood glucose level as well as that. For the muscle growth, obviously, we want a little bit of carbs to get that insulin spike. But once we, with that protein, we more or less regulate it. And that helps prevent those spikes and those cravings. But usually,
When you say the insulin spike is good for muscle growth, we're talking about post-workout, isn't it? Just to get the carbohydrates with protein,
yeah, I would
just
say
to spike it a little bit.
In general, like with a little bit spike it, I'd say with every meal you would want it a little some type of carb. It still spikes the deliveries happening in the body quicker with it. You want some insulin spike with it, with all of it. You can't just cut it off. That's more so, I don't know, like what they do in keto, what I have tried, but like that's as well. That's again, it's like that's pure fats and meat, let's say, and protein.
So it's not very sustainable for most people anyway.
Absolutely not. Yeah, and
It's
the carbs
being
is
designed
not
for
your
epilepsy.
enemy. Yeah. I tried it out for a good few months, and that's what the outcome was. I realized like, cool, it's not sustainable. It's not something what I would leave on. Like obviously balanced, high protein balanced diet, I think, is the most sustainable and most beneficial for everyone, unless you have any type of condition or restrictions or something you have to look deeper into.
It will be harder for vegans to get all these very grainy proteins.
No.
It's harder to get those high proteins from
I would
those
have to ask them, but they struggle with a lot of, I think, I don't know. Yeah, I never dialed in really deep with someone who is like true religion, like vegan. I just know they, whatever was the reason, whether that's trend or something, once you go down, I was like, okay, you don't take your amino acids, you don't get your B vitamins, your iron, and there is like a lot of issues. And down 2 years later, they running into the health issues and they pulling out, and it was like, okay, yeah, it wasn't really way to go so religiously for it. And I was like, yeah, it's like
Just
there's
find
always
balance in
gold. And
everything.
yeah, exactly. It was like with everything, I was like, it makes you like, look, I was like, why so bad? What you try to do with those animals? Save them. The world doesn't work that way.
Well, it's their choice anyway, so I wouldn't really force someone actually not to follow that. Since
I would look more
I
for
completely
somebody.
I completely respect that. You know, if somebody decides for that,
Yeah.
they like a lot of people should also understand that what you're gonna substitute with. So a lot of vegetarians would jump into a lot of pasta and sugar and all that stuff, and which makes it actually worse.
Yeah. And all those, what is those specially made? I noticed those special made kind of vegan foods, once you check them, they're so high in fat. I wouldn't say like, it's like sometimes I check it was like a lot of palm oil and stuff, and it doesn't look like something.
Stuff.
Yeah, I was like, it doesn't, I know you're avoiding the meat, but it doesn't look better.
Yeah.
This looks like you're sustained with something.
More inflammatory, I guess.
And I was like, that doesn't look like a food. I was born and raised like in, not, I wouldn't say hunter-gatherers, but in hunter's family. So I've been eating meat since I was born, and absolutely okay with it, hunting it, chopping it, skinning it like animal. So I'm okay with the blood, with the meat, and I prefer to get it my way. It's like to hunt it, and yeah, for me, it's like just you have to look in those people as well. I think from the backgrounds where they comes from. I met few clients who been vegans. One of them was actually, she said just it came out so she wasn't eating protein as a child, so parents wasn't, let's say, educated enough, and they were just like, fine, whatever, eat what you want as a kid. And then she developed her body in teenage years that she was trying to eat something and had some kidney issues, so body didn't, I never heard about it, to be honest, only about her. She didn't develop the ability to break down the protein.
Really?
Yeah. So
well,
she
that
would
can
have
be dangerous. Because
so she
they're
would
essential
be,
amino acids.
Yeah.
Obviously.
So she would have now, whenever she was trying to eat, she had the kidney stuff. Like Jesus, like
That's a problem.
18 kidney stones. Yeah, she was doing operations. Then she was trying to, with MRI now, but like with that ultrasound, break them down. It was like different kind of problems. And that's what, anecdotally, what she was telling me what it was. How it was in reality, I don't know. But like that's what she said, she never had it properly protein. She was never into it. She's not even into it now. But once I'm looking on those issues, what she have, I was like, it doesn't look right.
Yeah.
There's something, but like, yeah, I think it's like always you have to go for a balance. Take a step back, and I was like, okay, cool. I know I'm getting too much kind of into some topic. I was like, this is really good, but it was like once you take a step back, I was like, okay, maybe not so religiously.
Yeah.
Going for it was like you can use it, utilize it. Maybe there's some parts of, because the diet goes like for me wouldn't, and for people wouldn't usually, diet goes all year round the same. Summertime we'll try to get as much green stuff as possible. Luckily here in Ireland we have available salads, vegetables, berries all year round because of the market. What we have is like Aldi, Lidl, Dunstores, you name it, like Tesco's. All of them have it all year round. So we're quite blessed to have them all. We can sustain like kind of all the micronutrients, all that stuff. And if there is not a fresh vegetables, you can always get frozen vegetables, and micronutrient wise is the same. It's like really, really little to no loss in it once you freeze them. And I think in broccoli you even gain freezing them.
All right, so here we continue with another question. You actually mentioned something about food, that we are lucky to have vegetables. So what would be the foods that you would recommend, and that you personally eat the most, and also what you try to avoid?
Avoid. I was like, have to be mindful, just avoid. I would now and then really go really hard to avoiding any type of sweet stuff, because that's my issue, kind of having sweet tooth.
Is it addictive?
No, I just would say so more emotional. When the shit would go down, I would allow myself just to be like, fuck it, whatever what.
Doesn't sugar make us a little bit more moody?
Yeah,
a bit swingy?
Absolutely.
Spiky?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm pretty well once I'm off it. Like I wouldn't be like, I don't eat sugar. I would still have honey. I would still have ice cream, because I have a daughter, and whenever she would have some sweets, and I was like, it's weird sometimes saying no and saying it was like, I'm on the diet. I'm not really on the diet.
You wanted to be on diet.
Yeah,
but it was just your decision.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I was like, I used to stress about it, and then I was like, after a few years, I was like, listen, I can't be doing this. I'm not gonna get fat from one ice cream. It's just a matter of portion control, and that's all. And I was like, I can have one ice cream. Like I said to all the clients, I was like, can I have this? I was like, you can have one. I was like, tap it in. If you can stop. Some people it's easier. Once I realized for myself, okay, cool, I'm in that mood where it's easier for me to say no and not have it, because I will want to have it all.
Yeah.
It will be like a gate open and flooding down. I was like, for those times, I'm holding back, I'm not touching it, I'm not missing it. I know I'm on some type of mission, whether I would do, like say,
higher goals,
some prep, something, or whether just that would just be just mental aspect. It's like, cool, I'm avoiding these, I don't need them at the moment, because they're not those golden kind of basic foods what I would need. It was like, from the proteins, I would usually choose lean mince, whether that would be, or steak. Two options, more so mince, because I have few recipes what I'm making and they works out really well for me. Sometimes really boring, but I'm like just sticking through them and changing flavors with seasoning a little bit, but mostly that's a chili con carne what I do with the red kidney beans, mince, and a whole pack of mixed frozen veg. That thing is ready and juicy and high in protein. And if for extra carbs, I usually choose, to be honest, fruit.
I started to do it as well after I listened to Paul Brown on my podcast.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's such a brilliant idea. And especially I wanted to stay away from grains.
Yeah.
So you go ahead. How do you feel when you eat more fruit rather than grains?
Yeah. Yeah. And because even with rice was like, I'm not big, like I love and enjoy really good cooked rice, but it wouldn't feel basically, if I would get one good meal for lunch, I wouldn't be hungry for the next meal. So I would end up under eating that day. Because my schedule, whatever it runs, I have training, body is too full, it wouldn't digest. I was trying to get sometimes smaller portions of it, but then I wouldn't get enough of it. And then it's like, cool, rice is not like really rarely when I'm going with it. It's like more so I sometimes would get pasta in, but that as well is like literally once a week, once every 2 weeks. I mostly would stick to some type of fruit.
So what do you think are the best carbohydrates in general, like the healthiest ones?
I won't say it was like, we have to then define was like what's healthy. What, again, it depends. Some people would say it was like healthiest carbohydrates is the lowest in a glycemic index. It's not. Why? You know what I mean? That's just one of the kind of measurements of your insulin spike going to be, how glycemic index is going to be responding of it. So it's like rice, buckwheat, bread. But bread, sometimes some type of breads would be like even lower in glycemic index than the rice. So it's not so bad. And people would go, it's like mental about bread. Oh, it's like, yeah, I'm getting fat because of the bread. It's never been one food. It was like, I tried once out, like really silly. It was for sure 1 month. I was eating every day 2 boxes of ice cream. So 2 liters every day at one go. Sometimes I was splitting because I was getting so bloated and so bad digestion. But just to prove that I'm not gaining the weight, sticking the same calories. But I was freezing after. It was like, wasn't too good, but like, yeah, stop to do it.
You had to heat up your belly.
Yeah. It's not bad. It's not reacting well after. Yeah. But for the matter of just proving that it was like, ice cream wouldn't be the issue. Same as like the old sugar.
It's the calories in, calories out.
Yeah, more so.
But here again, we're talking about...
It's only plainly...
Temporarily.
Yes.
Yeah, because then I think we're talking about messing up the insulin sensitivity.
Absolutely.
We're messing up with digestion, pH changes in gut flora. We're talking about... Like, I tell you like this, whatever people say about sugar, I basically, if I had too much sugar, immediately have eczema and itchy skin. Immediately if I have that excess, when I get into some sort of addictive behavior and I just can't stop eating ice cream. That's why I prefer not to buy it.
Yeah.
But obviously my wife buys sometimes these things, and then I have to really be disciplined.
Yeah. Yes, that's what it all comes down to, is like really being disciplined and being able to say no. And I'm not, again, demonizing sugar by no means. I'm a bigger sugar fan. It's like I love sugar, but
well, if you look at the marathons or any like really intense events, the sugar is the main fuel to be served because it's needed for that active event, for example.
Yeah, as I said, it was like we have to look on sugar as the same with everything. So it was like depends where you use it and what for optimal health and diet. It was like it had to be something in it. Was like it might be honey, it might be bananas, it might be something else. It's
bananas. Like, I love them.
Yeah, it's like you choose it, but like you don't have to cut it out. It was like once people talking about sugar, it's more so. I was like, well, would you drink a 2-liter Coke like would you drink a full Monster like that? Would have like 68 grams of sugar in it. I think so, 59,
which could be good for post workout.
Yeah, or pre-workout if you use
pre-workout,
it. Yeah, just to get the carbs in.
Especially if
you are going to actually use it.
Especially if you've been dieting.
Yeah.
So if you are depletion of glycogen already because you're active.
Yeah.
But for someone who is overweight, so would you recommend testing their sugars? I would usually say, stay away from it as much as you can. Focus on protein. That's what we have started. But that just shows how, we have to adapt the diet based on our goals and what we want to achieve actually.
Oh, absolutely. And especially, with overweight person was like, once they bring that protein in and they actually manage it, prioritize it, hits the number as close as possible. As I said, it was like, I'm giving the number usually bigger because most of the people wouldn't hit it. And then they was like, oh, I didn't hit it by 400. I was like, that's okay. You got pretty close. Like it's still a lot of like comparing where you was. And then it just takes a matter of time for them get used to digest it. And I was like, they see the results. I was like, okay, now I'm used to it. Actually prioritize proteins rather than whatever, carbs. And even basic thing, I was like usually messing up people is like going out to eat. was like, oh, what I'm gonna eat? It was like, take whatever to eat. It was like, I'm not a big eater out. I'm just not a fan of it because it messes me up as I'm very confused what to enjoy, what is what. And I was like, if I'm not happy with it, I was like, I could cook that better. And I was like, I'm trying to avoid it, but like really rarely friends suggest something, they got something, and I was like, oh yeah, that was nice. But not looking on anything like calories or something. I would just close eyes on that and just enjoy food. That's the way I think to go. But if somebody have habit, like literally to go out and eat, that would be one of the biggest, what I would say, learn how to cook yourself. If you can't learn how to cook yourself, order the meals. There is a lot of really affordable
services.
Services, meal companies who is doing prepped meals already.
Would you recommend some to some listeners who are in Dublin or somewhere in Ireland that
I
they
have
can
to pull up. I will not get from the head straight away Andris, but like
they can do their own research if you don't know.
Yeah, I had good few what was tasty. A few of my clients was using only because they business persons, they're working, and then we realized like, look, you're not putting in the work. I can't get you the results what we need. Like, they would just say, it was like, it would come out there just like, I'm just lazy to cook. I was like, they have everything. It's like, I have to go shopping, but I was like, it's not my thing. I was like, somebody have to do it. I was like, you can afford it to take it. And then they realized actually it's for them even cheaper than going out and buying.
Yeah.
And
if you eat out, definitely
what they need. I tried them few times. I was like, yeah, pretty good to put you on and even give you like some understanding. It was like, okay, this is how my meal's gonna look. This amount of
this is 300
and then you
calories,
can literally copy paste do them. How to cook them, because people sometimes they wouldn't have not patience to cook, find new recipes. I wouldn't be mad on new recipes. That's what I was also saying. Usually, how many foods you eat? It was like you could count an actual foods like different. There are some 5, probably 6 protein sources, another 5, 6 carb sources, 3, 4 fat sources, and that's about it. Then a few more something around what you can mix. And I was like, oh, that actually it's not so much. It's just a matter of how to managing them.
Yeah. So Andris, now when we kind of touch the sources, so just mention a couple of really major protein sources, major carbohydrate sources, and fat sources. So whoever is listening knows clearly, because there are still people asking like, so what are the carbohydrates? So not everybody knows.
Yeah, I would go with, let's say, as a protein, as that's a priority use.
Even supplement usually, if there's like for protein, like a whey protein, for example, or some other like hemp protein, or you mention anything on that list.
Yeah, I would start with the whole foods always.
Of course, yeah.
And then would go. It depends. You eat meat, not meat. With the most now, we start with chicken, turkey, lean mince, anything under 8. Like, it again depends. We're talking about more so about dieting probably, rather than bulking. Everything with only thing which changes, because in the bulking or you cut or build, is the amount of calories. So you would choose just a higher fat, lower fat source. So I would go with chicken, turkey, lean mince. Then sometimes I would make sure I would have and suggest to have some kind of already cooked meat from kind of the half processed already, like or prosciutto ham or sliced chicken, turkey. It's just because of I've noticed
convenient snack. For
it's like busy. Because even if you don't have time to cook, you can pop that pack open, have your slice of bread, throw it on. It's not ideal, not perfect,
but better than something.
But you number-wise, macros, like you get it in. That's it. You can't pull back and say, oh, I didn't have the time. I just skipped the meal. I was like, you can skip.
But then they might have crash and crave and eat way more and way worse food.
Yeah, or they would be all day home. I was like, I didn't have anything. It was like, you didn't. You just wasn't prepared. That's all.
Yeah.
And then Greek yogurts is great. I love Greek yogurts. I would usually add whey protein to them, mix them with frozen berries, and I'm having already a dessert. And sometimes I add cinnamon a little bit and chia seeds to it, topping up with some cocoa shells. Unnecessary, of course, high in sugar, but I need that for myself. Those
for
carbs,
you, it's
a little
fine.
bit. Yeah, I'm looking for it, so I'm keeping it there. That's the only thing. And from protein sources really great is if you have no issues with cottage cheese, super cheap, super high in protein.
Slow to digest, so keep
Yeah,
you
it's
satiated.
casein type of, especially in the evening. Probably
Casein.
casein.
I think that's the better
That's
casein.
correct way. Yeah,
because we are from Slavic countries. You're
Yeah,
from from Riga, and I'm from Slovakia. So that's how we call it casein.
yeah.
Yeah.
Casein,
So but casein.
True.
Yeah. So it's a slow release protein,
Yeah.
opposite of what whey protein is. So when you have a cheese production, and you have that watery leftover which they usually throw away.
Yeah.
So that's where the whey protein, very rich in leucine, which is essential amino acid, is used to be thrown away. So the cottage cheese is the opposite one.
Yeah, it's like nice. It was like I
Before
remember
sleep,
my
for
granny
example.
was splitting them, doing them by herself. So I seen all that process. Like even it was like then I didn't know what it is. It was like just was eating everything of it, mixing up, and yeah, even the same. Proper. Well, what else would be mozzarella cheese, lightweight. Like again,
Also
it's
cheap,
ready.
Also cheap.
Yeah, cheap. It costs
60
nothing.
cents, 50 cents in Lidl.
exactly. You do the what is like use quick salad, just a little bit of. I used to do mozzarella cheese with spinach, a little bit of beetroots, and kidney beans. That's it. It's ready.
Simple.
Yeah. My most simple is like I'm laughing. It's you can call that hobo style. It's like somebody who wouldn't have money, but like I even enjoy it flavor wise. I'm taking a can of kidney beans, a bowl of mozzarella, heating them up, salt, black pepper,
And that's it.
And that's it. And macro wise, it's 50-50 protein, carbs, and it's really little in fats. And it's I wouldn't eat that every day.
I think you're talking about €1 meal.
Yeah, it is like that. Well, it was like
and preparation time 1 minute or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. One,
Boom, boom, microwave.
€1, 1 minute, literally. Yeah, I'm telling you.
€1, 1 minute, 2 clicks on the microwave.
Yeah.
1 click.
You wouldn't live on it, but like if you're in a position where you have to, like I've been having those, I was like, I have nothing. I have to hit the road. And I'm like, what do I have? I was like, I want a donut. I'm just going to eat something.
I can tell you somewhere in Africa or like Asia, they would love that meal.
Oh, Jesus. And it's not bad at all.
We're quite spoiled.
I enjoy it.
We are spoiled here a little bit
Absolutely.
with thinking like you have to have a ribeye steak for every meal and big salad. Sometimes, the theory versus, the reality.
Yeah.
It's like sometimes you're gonna get stuck.
Yep.
And we shouldn't really feel too guilty to eat some of these foods because it's just fuel.
Yep.
It's just a fuel and hits the spot. Because again, if you starve too much and you delay too long, you might aim for crisps, beer,
Yep.
wine, and all that kind of stuff that is way worse. So it's not actually the simplicity. I like it.
Yeah. And red kidney beans one would be my one to go, definitely. High in fiber, still some protein. I wouldn't count out protein from beans. I know it's still in there, but that's for vegans more so. It's like they would count probably that in. I'm not sure how good it absorbs. Same as from the oats to count the protein in. I wouldn't count that in if I'm having oats. That's still, that goes as a carbs, even if there is a little bit. I'm not sure how good it absorbs. It probably, if it does, have to probably ask some really smart people, like
experts
into the field. Yeah.
And you know what is the most confusing thing is that the more you start studying these, different experts, the more you realize the contradictions about this is the school of thought and this is different school of thought, and they're all preaching different things. I'm selling my book here, and so sometimes you just have to follow your own intuition and
simplify.
Just to
keep it
filter
easy.
the bullshit out of it as well.
Yeah, keep it simply, and it's because some of the times it does not matter. It's like let's keep it simple as like that. Oats. Source of carbs. Peanut butter, source of fats, not protein. Somewhere I saw, it was like a long time ago, people was like, oh, you will have your protein up with eating a lot of peanut butter.
It's a lot of fat.
Also, calories, getting fat as fuck from that. Yeah. Because you ain't gonna use it. It's like, you know how much is in the fat, 9 calories, 1 gram, so it's easy to overeat it. Yeah. And I was like, why would you do that?
It's the same when we have a meal and someone's like, do you want some olive oil on it? I'm like, well, not really.
It's like, I was like, you just cooked it in oil.
You just cooked it in oil. You put the sauce there, and then now you want to pull, I don't know, like 5 tablespoons worth of oil on top of it, which will be, that oil on its own will be possibly the same amount of calories like the whole pasta on your plate.
Yep.
People don't
Sometimes
realize
it's
that.
nice to get a little bit on it.
Yeah, we need
but
some.
it again depends how you cook the meat. If somebody does the deep frying breaded chicken as the schnitzels, something, and then on the side, that almost like I would try to see them as like, you're just doubling up on oils, you're finishing up with really a lot of fat, only because of your choice of cooking. You could pop the chicken in the oven. Obviously, it wouldn't be so tasty and everything, but then I would choose one only. Cool, those schnitzels are deep fried. Cool, I'm still gonna have them. I'm just gonna cut everywhere else probably those fats because I don't need them.
Yeah. Even actually the ready chickens cooked, Tesco's, the Lidl's, not Lidl's, down stores, a bunch of shops offer these, I don't know, €5-6 chickens. They're already cooked in oven.
Yeah.
So it's so handy. I mean, you
Yep.
can cut different pieces for different meals. You can make a little lunch box and you can have like, this is my lunch, dinner, or like lunch for 2
Yep.
days in a row. And it's just convenient for people who, it actually, I almost feel it comes cheaper to buy that ready chicken cooked than me buying the uncooked chicken and turning on my oven, supervising
If you're breaking it down,
My time-
your time
my
plus
time-
electricity, if you actually would count it in.
Yeah,
It is definitely.
and especially if you're busy, like if you're busy with making, like significant money per hour, you
Yeah.
can justify just like this is not my worth of my time to go and start cooking.
And if you find somewhere where they cook well, like, and if you enjoy the flavor of the chicken and you don't know there is no additives as a hidden part of you would want to miss, like skip, it was like 100%. If that's oven cooked chicken, it was like, can't go wrong with that, I understand it was like, there's always like some salad or as a deep fried stuff, it was like not a plain chicken fillet, it's only breaded. And then you see the bread like they're leaking from the oil. And it's like, okay, cool, I ain't gonna take that. But if that's oven cooked chicken, it was like 100%. As you said, it was like you save the time and you make it easier for yourself. And then it was like, if you're lazy, it was like, you can buy chicken thighs. That's the one of the cheapest, I think so would be. That's gonna be higher in the fat, but they're a bit
More tasty.
More tastier than
Yeah,
the fillet.
I actually don't like chicken breast. It's just so dry.
No, yeah,
it's
it's just cool. I'm just taking it, but like if I have an option to take chicken thighs, I have 100%.
I love the back and I love the legs and all
Yeah.
that stuff that is a bit fattier. I think it's just much tastier as well.
Yep.
And I just want to enjoy my meal too. And I think if you're active enough, you shouldn't be really afraid of calories and have some sort of common sense regulation in realizing if you're getting fatter. And for me, it's the pinch method. I don't even not looking into the mirror. I want to feel it.
Yeah.
If I go and touch my skin close to ribs or at the obliques, I know if I'm getting leaner or fatter. That's always been my caliper. It was my hand, and I know when I'm going down or up.
Oh yeah,
uphill.
straight away it's like tick or tick.
Yeah. I always had this kind of, like high sense of like, I would create myself a panic if I see myself going downhill. I was like, what the heck, man? Where are you going? I mean, like, you should
pull
discipline
back.
yourself. I have that high level of strong sense of dissatisfaction if I drift away from my normal sort of fit, lean, energetic state.
you see, because it's like very well throughout the years it's in your control, and then it's like you looking on what's happening and allowing it to happen. I was like, why am I doing this?
And you are the only one who can change anything. And it's the same, like I became vegetarian and then vegan and then just kind of drifted my way back into eating meat. And I just realized, I decided that I'm gonna do it, but I will also decide to change it. It's my belief, it's my decision, and it's not just because sometimes people put labels on things and it's like, I'm vegan, I'm this, I'm that, and then they have to defend it.
Yep.
And
They created that persona, what they have to stick to.
Persona,
and it's
the
so
image.
dangerous, yeah.
Yeah. And actually they say from research, a lot of vegans actually eat meat occasionally anyway.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, that's a different topic. All I'm just saying is that just you are the boss. You decide for yourself, and it could be good thing or bad thing. You are in charge. You can't blame anyone for anything. Nobody's here to save you. You have to figure this stuff out, because otherwise, I would say just sometimes some people, if they have serious health issues, they should really analyze what they can change to heal their body, because that's a very long time we know that the food is your medicine.
Big time.
Big time. So, if somebody have health issues, literally, then you have to figure it out. Like, when everything goes well, yeah, we can eat whatever we want. But when you have health issues and you can't rely on doctors to just give you that magic pill or the special procedure, you have to figure out what in the food, what in your lifestyle. It might be too much alcohol, too much cigarettes, it might be lack of sleep, it might be just you eat too much fried food, it might be too much sugar, and that might be something
be all of it.
allergic reaction.
It might be all of it,
Exactly.
and it's going down.
Yeah.
To be honest, I was like, that was the one of the reasons I say, well, probably it's not off topic, but like kind of pulling it back, why I got into the fitness. My father was a little bit, I'll say not a little bit, like heavily overweight. I wouldn't tell you how much. I would go for 160, 180, 170, something like that. My height, so 178, 177, something, but like, and obviously it was just because of the lifestyle, of the stress, of everything around, how they build the life, how it turn it tangled in themselves in the spinning wheel. So once I'm looking back now, it was a lot of stress, lack of sleep, really bad nutrition, like high fats, high carbs, just too much, not enough of movement. So lack of movement, and what else? Smoking, a little bit of alcohol, and that all just created that circle. That throughout the years, he was like, okay, once in a hospital, out, and they're saying, listen, it's bad, like you have to improve.
It scares people, doesn't it?
2-3 years in, it was like whatever it is in your life, that's what was holding it. I just realized, like, whatever he was in that position, I didn't recognize that position then. Now I'm looking on that, it was like, I would never want to be in that position, to hurt myself in that way, to suffer through that, and take that tool, allow to take the tool on my health, and be like, yeah, kind of pretending to be okay with what happens to you, and then kind of trying to do it, but there is not enough support, not enough, it's like, it's easy to say, hey, don't do this, hey,
yeah.
like, just the point with you on the finger and give out. It was like, it's not the way. It have to be educational, understanding. It was like let's try to manage what we can manage.
And things get addictive. Things get addictive. Same cigarettes, same alcohol, same behavior that gets you out of sleep. So like you might have a behavior, your routine that is basically keeping you away from sleeping longer because you're staring at your phone or watching movies or doing destructive things. So sometimes we have to just, decide for ourselves. But yeah, parents, can have a huge impact on our evolution. They definitely have a huge impact on our evolution. Yeah. And it could be the fact that we realize we don't want to be like our parents or our grandparents. And there's a pattern in the family. It's like, okay, if every male in your last 2 generations were alcoholics, so, well, maybe you stay away from alcohol.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what we have had in our family. Yeah. And I just know that alcohol doesn't do me any good. And I also need to be careful because I know the pattern in the family.
Yep. Yeah. I'd say it was like, I'm the same with alcohol. I'm kind of fine with it. I can have 1-2 pints, but I'm not good with strong ones. I've never been like big. It was like, I can enjoy really sitting. I have good few bottles for years. Like, it's like good Hennessy, it's good whiskey. No, not really whiskey. It's like cognacs. But I never really sit down and was like, would enjoy them. I would at some point go, whatever would be like, let's say, I would be in really bad position myself in life where I would just chug it down as a like half bottle. I was like, this wasn't the way. So it's not the way. Yeah. So I would be rarely enjoying a glass, but I would still. I have no issues. At some point I was laughing on someone. I was like, if somebody says me, I have no friends. If you do no drugs, you don't drink, you like absolutely anything you never touched and use, like there's something wrong with you. You know what I mean? You have to get.
Maybe some people have this strong sense of survival and pride in sticking to their own word, being impeccable. In a way, I think some people
being different. No, to be honest, I know
skill.
1 or 2 girls who, I don't know now, but like at that time, the ones I said was like knowing how many young people does the drugs. As she said, was like, don't do anything. I was like, that's interesting. I was like, what's in, like, you don't get burned out like that way. It's just all this, all the acting changes, like all your behavior changes. And was like, I like to see that, but at the same time, I kind of like damaged, fucked up people, because I'm not sure can I relate really with them, but I know I can help them for sure. Because I don't look for it's like nobody's perfect. Life is not perfect. Nothing's perfect. We're just trying to make through it like the best way possible. We try to download information like on the apps, learn something, and then try to use them some way and like exchange them for money as our trade of the specific like education. As of like I'm PT now, it's like I know this amount of knowledge, I can help you, and it was like I can sell them my time now. So again, and grow from there. But yeah, 100%.
So here we continue with our podcast, and so there's a few things I wanted to ask. One is medicinal mushrooms. I know you're, using lion's mane and different medicinal mushrooms, and what are the benefits? What do you think about them? Should people take them?
Yeah, let's say there's a lot of them, and there's a lot of benefits. Again, as with everything, let's say I can tell only from my personal experience what I have felt. I haven't been really dialing into ashwagandha a lot of, because it's something what you would use on off, as it's adaptogen. So
Ashwagandha, yeah?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
similar to maca?
Oh no, maca, is it similar action?
It's also adaptogen. It it grows in Andes in a very high altitude, like 3 kilometers above sea level.
Yeah.
So because it has such a hostile environment to live in, and so that has some kind of chemical compounds that are adaptogens to humans as well.
Yeah, so those ones usually would be something what I would use on off because body getting used to it, and it's
you throw it into smoothie or something like that.
No, I would take usually in a capsule form.
Okay.
Just somehow I saw you got in powder forms. I never really got in those powders.
More into powders are just so much better value per gram.
Yeah,
it's so much cheaper.
Agree.
I think maybe even 3 times cheaper in compare with that.
Yeah, agree with that. Absolutely, yeah.
Because if you buy a half kilo of something versus you buying 100 capsules of a gram, you're buying 100 grams. And sometimes these 100 grams cost 15-20 euro.
Yep.
Well, you have a 500 grams for 20 euro, let's say.
Yep,
So
absolutely.
you're actually getting like 5 times cheaper product when you buy bulk. And it can last 1 year. You put it to the smoothie, it's for a whole family.
Absolutely. And then I think something what I would use, I have some 7 mushroom blend, something what I would use as on a more or less on off regularly. And I couldn't say really that I would feel some type of like, I'll say, cool, I felt it like this before, I feel it after. More so what I felt was, I'd say lion's mane. What I started to use after the research, I had a little bit of brain fog. That would be probably because of, again, higher carb diet, the way of the diet, how I was.
But you also work a lot, don't you? You're a busy guy. You start early, finish late sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes maybe you sleep as well, no?
It is bad, yeah.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be more than 6 hours.
It is to be a soldier of a personal trainer, serving the clients any times of the day.
Yeah, it's more so, I'd say, it's at some point I'm bringing myself as like, oh, let's be real. It can be managed some way probably better. As business-wise, it's my choice, and I'm there for them, and I could give up sometime and just like, listen, I'm not gonna wake up. I realize I'm waking up the time. I'm not just being on duty, let's say, and chilling, and then I don't feel my day starts. So I feel that morning, anywhere from 6 till 10 till 12 is a golden time to get the work done, and then evening part and the daytime, that's how it rolls. It's like anywhere from 12 to 4. I would kind of have my time off. Where would you try to eat? Ideally take a nap. I have a daughter, so I have still some time with her. And then I'm back into the work. Whether that would be on off hours, sometimes it's messed up those evenings as well. It's like you will have one client here, one client there, somebody pulls out. It's never so smooth. Rarely when it runs smooth. But ideally we would look for that. And yeah, I felt a big time helped me lion's mane with the focus, because I was looking for alpha GPC. Alpha GPC is nada. mushroom, but alpha GPC would be, and lion's mane one, even in the nootropics, one of the most kind of basic things. What would be main things what to look for in?
I think lion's mane is repairing the nerves, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like the cover of the nerves.
No, it was. I'll tell
what
you
was it?
straight away. It's there you go, my empty brain. Telomeres.
Telomeres,
probably.
yeah?
There you go. Telomeres.
They
we're
said
talking
it's
about.
good for Alzheimer's.
Yeah, Alzheimer's. What happens? Telomere looks like a letter X, let's say, and once your telomere is drying out, basically those legs of that letter X getting shorter. So each next one connection loses at some point.
So what is the risk,
Risk
if that
is
damages?
Damage once that happens, that's where it goes, like muscle memory, muscle
Alzheimer's
function.
style, yeah?
Everything what's from what you see from Alzheimer's, memory, basic memory,
Cognitive
like
function.
cognitive function decline more so.
Motor control.
Yes, as
decline.
well. Yeah.
Because the
And
nerves control everything. It's just your pathway between brain to muscles. So if the connections are weakened, your control of muscles and your coordination and performance is weaker.
And I don't know why I freaked out about that, because I just didn't felt my brain is working well because of the lifestyle before. So I thought I could dial in actually not so much maybe in growing muscle, but taking care of my brain as well. And I actually found out that mixing lion's mane with psilocybin 10x's lion's mane strength and actually have capability of regrow an actual telomere length, so get that connection back, so prevent Alzheimer's. Obviously at the moment I'm using that protocol and I was like, hey, I don't have Alzheimer's. I was like, I might be using it probably next 20, 30, 40 years doing the same thing, and I'm just hoping I'm not gonna get it. It's not gonna get there. That's all.
Yeah.
Because it's something what might be in the future, you know what I mean? And doing it now, relying just on science, what it's not like it's like, oh, I feel it, my telomeres is really fit.
Yeah, of course.
It's not like
it's a prevention, really.
Yeah, more so, because I'm really I don't know, I'm freaking out of that. It was like if I have something I understand, but like if I lose my mind I have no ability to think clearly. I've just seen someone like years ago to having the decline, and it freaked me out. I was like, they don't recognize who you are.
Yeah, it's terrible.
And
you basically lose yourself.
Yeah, and it's like I was like, Jesus, like I would never want to lose my mind if I can stay fit and to the like insane. I was like, that's all I need, because at the end of the day, you can't buy that back.
Yeah,
if you didn't do those steps before, it's like you can have all fun, and again, it was like to be. Let's say I'm not gonna slide it now. It was like that way. It comes in my head just like other like things. I'm gonna stick to still the mushrooms. What I felt from them, to be honest, since my day starts really early, I was microdosing. Then comes like as a microdosing psilocybin with lion's mane. And I really felt in, let's say, those dark winter mornings, it's like you don't want to be up. It's early, it's rainy, it's cold. You drive down to the city, you go in a cold facility, it's dark, it's not so positive.
Depressive, isn't it?
Depressive, you touch the dumbbells and they're cold. Like you don't pull the hand back because it's hot, but because it's cold. It was like, Jesus, that's freezing. And I would come in with a little smile and kind of feeling on the ball, because I felt really good flow state, brain-wise. Like that information, what I have, it's always there, but now it's available. Like I can recall it and I can flow through it. And that little bit heightened kind of mood.
Yeah.
I was like, some people might think it's like, oh, it's artificial. Something might be still induced. I was
Well,
like, I'll take it.
There's
I'll
research
take it.
about it. There's a lot of smart people microdosing psilocybin. And there's a lot of information now about it. And actually, when you were mentioning the medicinal mushrooms and the psychedelic mushrooms, that Paul Stamets, he was the one kind of bring this awareness about the medical use and also the health benefits from it. And there's a lot of research he's done, which was like pretty interesting. And it's like a guy who backs it up with his own research, and there's lots of benefits about it. So I'd say it is something they say it's in our brain already.
Yeah.
And you know, it's that's why, you know, it can have some very profound effects on how we feel and how we think, and you know, realizing who we are and what's our purpose here, and just kind of tuning into ourselves.
It's all in.
Get you inward, tuning inward to you.
Yeah, and it's like those would be, let's say, the biggest ones. It was like that's what I said, was like that would be the microdosing of the psilocybin, kind of that part. What would be, well, I think more people would understand if you say it was like magic mushroom. For them, is like, again, it's like, it's same as calling everything, naming is like, oh, that's a drug. I was like, yeah, I'm all caffeinated up, I'm on all nicotined up. I was like, I'm all, you name it. I'm all on it. At some point I would love to do some detox is not the name, it's like as well another sexy name of the industry, but kind of flush the system out of everything to get so everything would work better. Just sensitivity to regain
or reset.
Yeah.
Spring cleaning.
Yeah, approximately like that. It's just like once you're too much on everything, it was like for too long, you realize like body is not functioning and acting so well on it, responding, so you might be damaging yourself a little bit. But psilocybin type of wise, I'd say brain wise, like focus wise, I was like, sometimes there's like, I'm really bad with dosages. I might, let's say, a little bit experiment where is that edge, and if you step over that micro, for the work it would be not beneficial. It would kick you out a little bit of that focus. So you will have to be really careful with that, whoever, let's say, ever tries that, because then you get other way, because you step over that edge and you would get, I wouldn't say even if you don't get till hallucination, you would get
feeling weird,
sensitive, too sensitive on everything. The sensation feeling would be like overwhelming, and a little bit the sounds would be too harsh, and it was like just a little bit off. That might distract you a little bit. However, if you decide to use them as like to try it out, I would go somewhere out in the nature. Yes, I would say like great benefits. I was like reconnecting you with yourself. If that's how I would imagine something, once I'd say once I had a really proper trip first, I felt like I was baptized, if that's a thing. I'm not religious, but I don't know why I felt so pure and clean. I was like, damn, you can't, like, I'm on such a good vibration. I was like, don't come even close to me. I'm happy. Like, leave me alone. It was like people driving so locked up. I was like mad and rushing. And I'm there with a smile. I was like, Jesus. At some point, we all need a little bit just to relax. And sometimes we can't relax. It was like our minds is so focused on whatever we do, on the problems, because we have to somehow untangle. I was like, with that, I was like, I'm not saying I'm promoting. It was like, oh, go help yourself somehow. Obviously, go to the doctor. First thing first, and they might help you, but
they might not help you.
They might not help you. I'm just talking as a.
They might not know themselves these things.
Yeah, no, you can't blame them. It's not still there.
They're trained to basically take a symptom and give you a drug to stop that symptom. They rarely go into the deep cause. And sometimes they're just too busy to look at everyone's problems deep inside. So their treatment is superficial, but I guess the people's approach to their own health is superficial as well.
Yes.
So that's why, we shouldn't expect that somebody is there just to save us every time we have a trouble. We should just figure out things as well and study a little bit. That's why I think education is a really good thing. And I think now in the modern era of internet and blogs and podcasts and YouTubes, and it's easier to share and get into information that will be completely unavailable to us maybe 20, 30 years ago. So we're lucky, but it's really where our attention goes.
Yeah.
because we can get distracted in these rabbit holes of conspiracies, and this is wrong. And if you start watching news, I mean, you're not getting the good news. You're not getting scientific research, best highlights of the
it's all
tech.
clickbait. Just it's like, hey, look, this is bad. Whether distract from something, what's actually happening, or just to get an attention for you, because that's something what could they get paid for. Business, at the end of the day, business.
Yeah, that's true.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Now, on different note there, Andris, I've seen some of your social media posts with a beautiful big freezer, the chest style.
Oh, yeah.
You always jump into the water in Donabate, into the sea. And so, tell us something about why you do the dips into the sea, even the winter time, and you really are the sort of Wim Hof style guy. So tell us something about it.
Yeah, I started it actually the whole idea comes from Wim Hof. How I started, I wouldn't be a big fan of him as a go deep in, but I did all the research. I was like, okay, cool, why I would do that, what would be the benefits, for how long I do that. So I started it on April, so I don't know, like it's the beginning of March. It was March. In April, I had my first month. I still have pictures of the first time going, and so I started in cold winter. I didn't want it to start with cold showers because I think it's absolutely meh comparing to getting full body immersion.
It's not the same,
and it's annoying once the front is cold, back is warm, and then you get back and you're like. It's not that nowhere close.
It's nothing to compare. It's not as cold.
It's nice and fresh.
I can tell you that.
Yeah, but it's nothing to compare really. Like once it's cold water. So yeah, I just started that. It wasn't really medical. I think I took up a new challenge just for myself. I look at that there's some benefits of it. I was like, definitely wasn't sports recovery. That wasn't the benefit of it. I wasn't working out twice a day. I was like, hey, I'm really sore, I need to get it. It was nothing from that. It more so was I was getting into something new, something tough to do, something what's kind of painful and challenging, and to overcome that part. And then with the time, I realized it was like, hey, I'm doing that like a madman. Like I was like just with the fun, just going in. It's painful and it's awful, but like
what I say to myself when I seen you, I was like, good for him, but it's not for me. It's too cold. I know that. I'm not. I tried it a few times. I did. But I do cold showers and after sauna. But seaside, it's in Ireland, guys. If you're listening to this, Irish Sea is freaking cold. Period. Even in summer, if you're lucky.
Oh no, not the summer. Winter time is more interesting. Yeah, I'm bored. Like in summer, it's like. You would stay there 20 minutes. It's normal. It's warm. 15 degrees.
Like around a month ago was really warm. I was actually swimming.
Yeah.
And but other times when it's not really summery, sunny, and it's pretty cold, I can tell you that. But you can get used to it, yeah? So it's like that
you
feeling,
adapt a little bit to it.
That feeling of like having frozen bones, really, like that goes away eventually, yeah? When you can't really move your muscles, when you
to be honest, like first thing what it was the most painful what I got used to was my balls. Literally, it was like that was the only reason why I was getting out. I was getting in, and that was the rule. I was going with my friend. Once the water hits the balls, you dip in, because once it's there, it's gonna be cold. And then from the beginning, I was going fully in with the hands. I found out with the time that there is no really benefit from getting my hands. There's small capillaries only on the fingers, so my arms would shrinkle up and I couldn't move them after. So I would keep the palms out. I learned it the hard way because I have to get home.
Looks
with
funny, like
but it's like it's so nails, nerves, all that like so.
Well, you know what? When I was swimming, and sometimes even I had a dry suit, it would be the neck that would be like you feel like it's cutting you with some kind of blades. It's so cold. It's really sore. So especially even feet. If you go like you have a dry suit, but you have a bare feet, like your feet start to freeze. Yeah,
I few times felt like I might lose a finger. I got.
Dear Lord.
Yeah.
In the name of research, science, and experience.
No. It was just I came back and I was in the socks and I was like, I'm gonna heat up. And a few hours later, I'm just taking the socks off. I decided I couldn't heat up. I felt, but it wasn't heating up itself. I'm just gonna heat my feet up with the warm water, and I'm taking socks off, and one of the fingers is dead white, and I'm touching it and I can't feel it. I was like in the water and massaging it, getting the blood back, and it was like, luckily I got it, but like I realized like, yeah, I could easily go wrong. Yeah. It's just and weird, like just one finger, the rest of them is like was fine. So it's not like the whole foot, but like it was as well. I went into the dry suit and spent there probably 18 minutes, I think so. And then it didn't felt like because the whole body was, I felt after my temperature dropped. But my feet was, without the boots. But I wanted to get the boots. But yeah, I was basically going throughout the winter, and before the summer started to get warmer, what I realized that was like getting boring for me, because you're looking for that endorphin rush. You're looking for the challenge.
Yeah.
It's something what you choose deliberately.
So you bought the freezer.
Self.
So you can do that.
So at the summertime, it get boring, and I bought a chest freezer, 400 liters. So silicone at the corners, so there's no leaks. Fill it up a little bit more than over the halfway in, freeze it up. Took a good few hours, I think some 6 hours to freeze it up. Added a little bit of ice, and then I would plug it out, leave it for some 20 minutes so that layer of ice defrosts it from the sides, break it into pieces, and jump in there. And there's usually 0-1 degree, like it's frozen water. Obviously not a whole block, but like top layer is like good thick layer.
So it's properly cold, isn't it?
Yeah, but I wouldn't say by the feeling that there is a difference. If you go into the ice bath, where is the, let's say 1 degree of Celsius and plus probably the zero-ish kind of frozen water, you don't move. You kind of develop that little layer of air, I think so, around the skin, even from the immersion. If you don't move, you kind of fine. It's still freezing, but it's fine. If you stir that water up, a little bit, then it cuts like blades. Yeah,
I know from plunge pools. Once you start moving, you get so much colder.
Yeah, so that's the difference with the sea.
I think you heat up the layer of water that is just at your skin level.
Yeah.
And
once
your temperature from body is heating it up, and if you don't move, it stays there.
Yeah.
But once you start moving, it's fresh, and
your body temperature probably drops still, but it's more bearable for the skin, for the feeling. It doesn't feel so harsh. But that's the whole difference. Then you can bear it. Usually hardest part is, I think so, 30-40 seconds first. Once you get over those,
then you use the breathing a little bit of that deep. Automatically,
I would do
breathe differently.
Yeah, that was the first thing, but I unknowingly noticed how to manage that adrenaline rush in the sea. Once you would go in, it was like, my friend would be like, oh, fuck it, I'm going out. And I would be like, trying just to bear it somehow and manage it. And then I realized that I was saying him. And then I did the research after. I was like, oh, okay, so you can actually control the breath.
Yes.
Yeah, I was like, how did this came so naturally for me? Like it's just just to control it with the deep breaths. And then I started to practice box breathing in ice bath. And then I knew my 20 breaths was like each box, I kept it for 4 seconds. So my 20 breaths was my time when I have to get out approximately. And then I would, I think it was 2-3 minutes, something like I was going for. And then depending on the feeling, I would or stretch it out a little bit or cut it back.
So now, what are the major benefits of these cold baths or plunge pools, cold showers? So from what I know, it's immune system. It makes you more resilient. Also, you can adapt to cold weather better, so you don't feel in the winter as cold. Like doing sauna and cold showers or plunge pools, excuse me, basically makes you a little bit better to deal with heat and also with cold. So you're kind of like, you're more comfortable in everyday weather.
Yeah, especially in Ireland, where it's like, you never know what turns up. But I didn't felt, I would say, a little bit about the cold. It depends how lean you are, I'd say. So you're going to feel that in winter. The leaner you are, you're going to still freeze. Yeah. I've noticed that big time once I was years ago. I wasn't so lean, and then I came leaner, got leaner, and I was like, I'm freezing. I need some socks. I need some sweatshirt. There is a big difference. But you definitely adapt to that.
In winter, you will need a sweater, yeah?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So he's talking that he's normally in t-shirt, right?
Yeah. Now those times changed. There was the times when I would be back home. I remember as a teenager, probably hormones bouncing all over the place. I would be usually hot, like in shorts throughout the winter. just to wear them. It's like, I have to go somewhere. I'm going to put the jacket on. But that would be like...
By the way, interesting story here. I was with a colleague of mine. He was from Riga as well, like you are. This guy, we were working in the car park in Dundrum Shopping Center together. And he would just say, oh, it's so hot here. And he'll be just putting this coldest, freezing aircon nonstop. I would be like, I'd be freezing and putting jumpers on. I was like, man, like, come on, let's meet in the middle. Like, you want like 17 degrees aircon. I want like 24 degrees aircon. Let's meet like 20, 21, man. Like, are you freezing me here?
Yeah.
But he just was getting too hot from just everyday, like, normal temperatures.
Yeah. I'd say that's where you have to look again. It was like maybe a little bit overweight.
No,
maybe
it was very lean.
No, was
very
lean,
lean, very lean. Yeah.
Strange, yeah.
Yeah.
So as a kid, I remember being that, like, it's like I was hot, like just sweating like crazy for sometimes, and then at some point I just remember it was gone. I was like, what happened? Something happened.
Maybe hormones. Who knows? Well, we regulate our heat as well. Like, it's just and like it's just your body's ability to generate heat. And I think when you start shaking muscles, you're actually producing heat by burning fuel in your muscles. So that's the principle of the shiver, of like,
yeah.
You generate your own heat.
Yeah.
So,
Let's go.
Let's go again. So here is another question, Andris. It is about your motorcycle. You're so passionate about it. And I read some of your recent posts. You said you just love driving around and being in the moment and just not thinking. This is actually pretty profound, like living in the moment and being so, happy to do what you do. So riding a motorcycle.
Yeah, I think one of the reasons why I got it, I was like, usually people say it was like, oh, somebody gets bored or something, it was like, oh, midlife crisis, something comes. I was like, even if that would be the case, it was like people never breaks down again. It depends. I was like, let's see why it's there, why people are looking for something like that. So something is like you're looking for something
to excite yourself.
Something.
To do something with your life.
Yeah, exactly. And that was something what I always wanted to do. I just didn't had a really chance to sit on it and be around. And I was like, I decided it was like, oh, cool, it's time for me. Like, against all odds, and gave myself a Christmas present. And yeah, I wasn't like on a regular riding, so I had to get comfortable first with the traffic flow and everything. And now I feel absolutely okay and confident. Even though if you've been riding years ago and then you missed a part, it was like it's just a little bit those few times to get used to the motorcycle and everything, to gain the confidence. And I really enjoy it. Yeah, just literally. It wouldn't be like, oh, where are you riding? I was like, literally nowhere.
Cruising.
I'm cruising. Like, I have my coastline with a great view.
So you're based in Swords and in that area?
Yeah, I'm going to Swords to Holt. So Swords to Port Monroe is like the best, that cliff view next to the sea.
That's a nice one.
And I'm passing that one. It was like, so literally just cruising down, stopping there, taking a look, jumping for some coffee, and coming right back, taking some extra turns. Lately, I noticed I'm really enjoy evening rides once it gets darker. There's less traffic.
Yeah,
and it's a vibe. There is something in it. If the weather is good, it's something interesting in that evening. Like, once it gets darker, because I thought it's like, oh, it's just dark, something, but those empty streets and you ride on it, the revs on the bike and you on your own again, and it's like, it's something in it, freeing kind of, and you can't, I'm saying, it's like, you have to be in the moment. You can't be so relaxed as on the car. It's not a highway. You just like all the time have to be focused, and it takes away a little bit brain.
You're more vulnerable as well.
Yeah, big time.
With motorbike.
Yeah, it was like few moments when I realized like, it could go wrong real quick once you speed up a little bit, like, and then it feels like you can take a turn, but it doesn't turn.
Now you have 2 wheels, not 4 wheels.
Yeah, it's not just like turn harder. It's just not happening.
No,
yeah,
no. It is much more risk. I had maybe 4 motorbikes, and I started to ride bike when I was 12. Friends of mine had this Pioneer, which was popular in Slovakia. I think it was some kind of communist style, like machine. It's like a scooter-like motorbike that had actually clutch and 3 gears. So you have to actually shift 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Maybe 60 kilometers an hour, and we used to go to the lakes and driving like a little off-road, and that was fun. Like for someone who is 12 and can go 60,
Jesus, yes.
60 kilometers an hour at age 12, I had so much fun on it. All the bumps and all that stuff. But I remember, well, I fell a few times because I had the bigger bikes later on when I was like on enduro rally bikes and all that stuff. I was riding the trails. But I remember a couple of, mistakes, and I was like, whew. So, like me surviving that time of being sometimes a bit too daredevil on a motorbike.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it now. And then when I had the motorbike later on in my life, maybe 9 years ago, I got a motorbike again, Suzuki SV650, which was a big bike.
Yeah.
And I went once, was due on the morning. I was going off night shift from a car park where I used to work. It was my first job in Ireland, and I just leaned into the corner. I was going a little bit too fast, 40 kilometers an hour, but behind Enniskerry, you have this kind of like sharp turn, and I could feel my front wheel skid, and it's few situations like that scares you. So, on a motorbike you have to be careful, but once you cruise and you go, reasonably slow, it's very enjoyable.
Yeah.
The air in the face and the vibration from the vehicle, it's from the motorbike.
Yeah.
In your body and in your hands you feel, and the sound, it's just different thing to car driving.
Yeah, absolutely. And as I said, it was like I discovered those evening rides as well. I was like now it's like if I have a chance, even that's a 30-40 minute just cruise, I was like, you can sit on the phone or you just can jump for a ride.
It's a therapy.
Yeah, it's literally therapy, and so it wouldn't be like, sometimes it's crazy. It's expensive though to have a bike and a car, and
2 insurances in Ireland.
Yeah, it's mad considering what I'm driving. I'm riding the bike was like, it's so little, like maybe twice a month, 3 times a month, like literally for enjoy. So I'll see how long I can go with that, but so far being really, really, really enjoying it, to be honest. My dream was, to be honest, I think so. I saw one guy in the Wicklow Mountains cruising through the Wicklow Mountains.
You get inspired?
I was like, I was like, I want to do that. Like just through those roads, go. He was cruising slowly, and that view was, I was like, damn, that looks good.
And you know what? I'm the same. I see something and I want to have the same thing. I was at Bundoran and I see a kayaker and I was like, I want kayak.
Yeah.
Then,
like you want to experience that, not just to see. It's like, oh, that's cool.
It inspired me. Then another time I've seen a mountain biker while I was hiking at the Jaws, and I see a mountain biker. I'm like, you know what? I will get a bike. And then I've seen motorbikes, and I was like, I want motorbike. So I personally get quite excited about seeing something. Then I think about it. That would be a cool thing to have. So we're lucky to have so much, ability to get into different hobbies.
Yeah.
And sometimes, for people who listen and are thinking it's expensive, sometimes you have to prioritize, but most of my hobbies, I sold all the equipment for 60% of my purchase price. So if I imagine I bought kayak and all the equipment, I sold everything out for at least 60% of original price. So then you're thinking about like, I had it for €50 a year, all that hobby, €50 a year.
Yeah.
If you go rent a bicycle, a mountain bike in the mountains, you pay €50 per day.
Yeah.
Not for a year.
Yeah.
And it's like a good equipment, like €700-800 worth of equipment. You have it for 5-6 years and then you sell it. Cost you fraction per year.
Yeah, exactly. If you invest in it, you have where to store it, especially. Sometimes people would rent smaller apartments and wouldn't have just where to store the things.
That's why I had to sell everything, because I was moving from a house. We were at the Wicklow mountains, kind of overviewing Sugarloaf, and there were like a horse stables where nobody actually had horses there.
Plenty of
so
place.
It was like a massive room, few rooms. So I could just store whatever I wanted there. I had 2 bicycles, motorbike, kayak, racing rig in the house. So I was all into hobbies and I love that stuff. And I hope I will keep going with that. But I had to sell everything because we were moving to apartment, and I was like, you can't even have a bicycle there.
Yeah, no, really.
That's a bit of a bummer now.
Yeah, same situation kind of. But like, until I can keep going, it was like motorcycle was great addition. It's like, even if for somebody it was like to try out, to get a 50 bike, get the feeling of it, and then go higher. but it's something I assume is like not. And all the bikes is like another thing. It's not all the bikes is the same. It's not the same rides. I know it's two wheels still, same as the cars. It's so different. Cruiser, bobber. I have cafe racer. Sports bike would be more. So I was like, I wouldn't be into the kind of street sports because
no, like a street racing bike.
Yeah.
Well, not street racing, like racing bike. You
Yeah.
know, they will be much more uncomfortable. You lean in. It's like a racing bicycle, a road racing bicycle versus a city cruiser.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
You would
Yeah.
be sore in your back after
Yeah.
leaning the few hours
Yeah,
on
and
the
then
wheel.
there's like some people's like, and then there's all those for safety, obviously leather costumes, everything. It was like I'm not getting into it. It was like not really into it. I would sit back. I would choose more some Harley's type of bobber or something as the next, probably some cruiser, something. But yeah, not really into those. I was like, I'm not really into as well. Don't like those enduro
You don't want
type
to go
of.
fast either.
Yeah, no, it wouldn't be that. The problem with the speed is like,
It's dangerous.
yeah, it pulls me in quick, and
It's
I was like,
addictive
and
too.
I have felt blessed that I have smaller engine on the car and on the bike few times, because I felt I was like, oh, if I would act emotionally like I would, those 2 seconds once you kick that full throttle or the pedal to the floor because of something is like in you is boiling, and you realize like that response wasn't there, and you straight away was like, you fool. You call yourself out, kind of like I would be like, and I would smile. It's like Jesus. It was like I just have to control myself a little
You
bit
have
more.
to, on motorbikes like that, any hobby, any sport that goes like that, you have to really control yourself, and I think that comes with experience as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, that's why I recommend people, let's say, who live in the, let's say, cold environment where there's snow, practice an empty car park. See how the car handles.
Yeah.
If you push it a little bit more, if it
Yeah.
slides, what
Yeah.
you can do, and have a feeling of it. And I always was doing it on the wet roads, in the puddles and snow and ice, just to see. Like on ice, you can't do much at all.
Yeah.
Anyway, now different topic here. Life philosophy. Is there something you have, something like, this is what I stand for, this is like some cool ideas that you try to follow? I know you said about living in the moment, enjoy yourself, being disciplined and challenging yourself. So is there anything else, or?
I'm a really good example of how to don't do things.
Yeah.
You know, it's like some people would be like, oh, they do everything right. I think I would be like really good example. It was like, oh, how to fuck up things and how to don't do things. So I would be like, I think that's a good example as well.
Don't
It's
do
like, you
what
know,
he
it's like,
does.
okay, cool. I actually don't have to do that. So somebody asked me, I was like, usually I'm good to say is like, don't do this. Not like, it was like, I don't know what you have to do it right, but these are things which you don't do the way how I did, because I was just like, I was doing them not only once, and it was like, I got it wrong. So I wouldn't put myself anywhere where I would feel like I'm there, like as a fully matured human, I'd say. So I'm still just learning and trying to grasp, like,
Don't we all are?
Yeah, it was like, and I realized that more and more. It's like the more you communicate with people, it's like, Jesus, some of them is just better with those systems in communication, and in some other ways they would be really bad. And I'm like, none of us is perfect, but yeah, I really enjoy challenging myself. Whenever I'm under pressure and challenged, I function better and outcome is better. I probably I'm liking myself to create a little bit of problem and struggle, because I feel that struggle is necessary for the progress. And then sometimes I would probably not get out of that struggle. I would just remain it, kind of creating it, because I think that's what motivates me. Because after once the struggle is gone, you're like,
You have extra strength. If you overcome something, it's like lifting weight in the gym.
yeah.
So you overcome that resistance, and your next training, it's becoming easier. So I'd say if you put yourself through a bit of life struggles and challenges, like going to the sea, like what you say, or anything of those things, having hard childhood, for example. Yeah, sometimes we complain things are bad, but then, you building your character. That's where your real strength shines, and it actually can be a good thing. If I go through everything that I went through in my life, all the bad years, bad situations, really, like you could consider like a tough situations you put a child into or teenager into, and I came through it a bit stronger, more confident.
Yeah.
Because my main thing when I was growing up was lack of self-confidence, and I was always worrying about things can go wrong, and I was also a bad boy. So I was always, my parents always had to complain about, don't do this, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But I was a real, daredevil, and also I get bored, so I was quite cheeky. So, but now all of these tough situations, I kind of feel it gave me that confidence in myself that I just don't take shit from people. I just talk back. I hate bullies. There was a situation I was in Luas, and there was a drunk man abusing people that could be like ladies of my mom's age. And like the Luas stopped, and I pushed him off the door, like, go. And you're misbehaving, just
you don't fit in society
I did
normally,
say it much more vulgar way, but I just couldn't handle a bully like that. Especially that was a guy who I would just crush, and I just couldn't accept the fact that nobody in the Luas didn't stand up to this guy who was just drunk and absolutely abusing people there. I'm like, you know what? You are lucky that you've been just kicked out of the Luas, because the other option will be much, much worse for you. And that's just the kind of, I think, that character, just to, not to be happy with the fact that, you can improve things, and, like standing up for values as well.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
And that's why I like martial arts, to be able to fight for myself, because the world can be a tough place. And,
Oh, absolutely. I know it was like we was younger. We wasn't so mindful of outcome, what you can do to others, and more so, let's say, once there's a group of the guys, we could cause a lot of trouble. We got in a lot of trouble, and only years after starting the boxing and a little bit of grappling, I realized I got humbled. Let's say like that. I got humbled, and in every possible good way. And as well, I realized how much damage I can do someone, and since then it's somehow pulled back. And it was like each of the good masters, let's say, who was teaching, it was like each of them was like, you kind of don't step up usually for a fight just to look for a fight. You just try to avoid it as much as possible, because you're not here for that. And it was like, I'm like, then we here came to fight, and then with the time it comes, I was like, you're not looking for that energy unless it's like somebody is attacking you, like just to fuck somebody up. It's kind of not a thing. And other thing, it was like, I think it came with the age after 30. I stopped to give a fuck about things. Like certain things didn't impress me anymore. In general, in society and something, I would be like literally careless. I was like, not interested, and it's not for me. I have grown out of this. I can't get impressed about this, and I don't want to even. It's like, if you're mad and you want to argue, it was like argue. It was like, I'm happy. Leave me alone. I'm not getting paid for this.
Best to stay away from people.
Yeah.
But there are situations. We were in Crimea. I think it was, because of COVID, we didn't travel last 2 years. But then it's 2 years ago now. It's 2 years ago now when we were in. Yeah, 2 years ago. And we were walking through this like dark alley, crossing the train tracks. And I was with my wife coming back home into the apartment of her parents, and there was a drunk guy, swearing in Russian, and I didn't understand exactly what he's saying, but I knew he was aggressive.
Yeah.
He was just walking behind us, and my wife is saying like, it's really, like aggressive, and he's really like asking for a problem. And I was just so close from just do a hit and run kind of thing, just to, because it's a guy who's obviously verbally attacking two of us from the back. Yeah. And, I'm not just turning around every few seconds to see if he has a knife or something and want to rob us. So that's like immediate trend you have, like you fight or flight. Yeah. You can run. It can be just walking normally, or you can fight it. And I was just like so close from just turning around and just hitting him as hard as I could with the right cross on the face, just knock him out and just eliminate threat. Nobody would ever see us. Because he already was a threat to us, and nobody would see what happened there. But when you're in a dangerous situation, you have to think different way. Like we just stayed calm. I was like, okay, I was so close, but I was just holding myself because like you never know when you have that stress, you think different way. And it's survival, and it's like that's why I recommend martial arts, so you have that confidence that you can defend your loved ones.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially that you have that response, like you don't have to think what you do, it's straight away there. Kind of the dangerous part is like you never know, especially with the scums here. Everybody have a knife, especially those little pricks.
Who can't actually fight, so
yeah,
they can stab you with a screwdriver or something.
They're just little shits. It was like I would put them all. It was like if I would be me, I would just then put them in concentration camps and let them work. Not being mean, but like as a teenagers, whoever was like they just scum of the society. It was like I remember being myself, and it was like all those hormones bumping everything. It's like you're not doing a lot of, not for your family, not for everyone. It was like unless you're studying and try to develop, it was like it's hard time. And if those who is like out just on the streets, it was like. I'm not. No, I was like, yeah. I was like, there's government who probably take care about it. But like, if those cause the problem, I would be looking into it. Like, yeah, get some good out of it. I'm not sure. I was thinking about myself. I was like, Jesus, with all that mess, what's in my head, it was like if I would be put, like, kind of forced just to do some labor, something, I would learn habit of hard work, and there would be probably some outcome as a. Financial, maybe financial.
Maybe these people just need some mentors, and also that's why actually when I watch some of the coaches that like imagine Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
If he didn't find his mentor.
Oh Jesus, yeah.
He was already in the juvenile jails for
Yeah.
a couple of times.
Yeah.
For, like he said, he had a bunch of crimes. While
Yeah.
he was 13.
You can go down like sideways real quick. At that time, I was like recognizing myself, all the ideas, what was in the head, what to do, and it was like zero care about your life and anybody else's life. Like I was thinking after, I was like, I would be like out better if I would put in somewhere just to force to be work. You live here, you work here, like and then you go for I don't know, for a certain time of month home, like, or you've been sent out somewhere to work and being looked after. It was like just you have to keep busy, and after like I'd say good kind of with some restrictions that there's somebody who looks after you.
Yeah.
I actually really liked we had like pre-army prep.
Yeah, did you?
Yeah, and I forgot how it's like how would be English called, but like basically yeah, pre-army is like some basic like scouting.
Yeah.
All the weapons, map readings, you go out, you do competitions. It was like once a year or something. So that part felt like it was like you gained a lot from it, and it felt like it pulled together few guys of us. It was like who was doing the same thing. It felt like we're going there when it was like after gaining some basic knowledge of what's bigger picture was if something goes down. It was like I really enjoyed that part. And it didn't went further though. It didn't went to the army.
Yeah.
At that moment, I thought it's a waste of time,
Yeah.
and to choose it to study at that point.
Actually, when I had to go to my military training, which we had in Slovakia, was to be 9 months, or you can go for 1.5 years of civil service. I got a driving license from militaries for trucks and all that stuff, which I never use really, but I got a motorbike there and car and all that stuff, tractors. And I really became pacifist as I was doing my training over there. And it's just like when you think about all that nationalism and all that stuff, when you think so proud, you fight for your country. And my family came from Austria, and they flee the country because of the rise of Nazism over there. So they escaped the Austria, and I didn't want to fight someone's war. As a soldier in the future, I was quite aware of my grandparents.
Yeah.
And my parents remember the Soviets came and with tanks and took over. So I was also kind of aware, what if there's another conflict? I don't want to be pulled into this horror. So I just pulled myself out of it somehow, and I didn't complete it. So even if there is something in the future, they can't call me.
Yeah, you're kind of not advanced for it. Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't feel like I would want to, risk my life for someone. Political wars, they usually are.
Yeah.
They
mostly, yeah. It's just made.
And when people feel really patriotic, on the one hand, yes, there's something noble and cool about it, but do I want to be sacrificed for this? I mean,
Yeah.
I think as a society, as a world, we're still far away from becoming so good that we don't need armies, because we're gonna
Yeah.
be so happy, so abundant in the world that we don't need army, because who would want to fight who? We would be so good looking after our happiness.
I don't think it's gonna happen. Yeah, there's
Yet,
always
not yet.
someone they play that role pretty well and they're managing everything.
That's why I understand from army point of view that we still need, strong weapons to show the other neighbors who would want to take over different, like you have these different factions like Chinese, Russians, Americans, Europe, whatever. Even like simple things like Pakistan and India. If these two nuclear powers have conflict and they start, if these two different religions, different countries start to dropping nukes against each other, the whole world will feel it. So I'm definitely against any global conflict. And I hope at some point our politics and our whole consciousness on the planet will be so good that we'll be so far away from any of these sort of even thoughts about it.
I'd say we're far from it. Yeah, I'd say all of us would need to. I know it's stupid, but like all of us would need a little bit of psilocybin somehow to connect. And it's not so going about mushrooms. It wouldn't be probably my words. Probably I heard it somewhere. Somebody probably said it already. And a lot of what
Terence McKenna was saying something about a culture and how culture is not your friend. Culture is to enslave you, really, to be part of it. And he said, like, you just need to, format your disk. And, if you don't have much time, you take DMT. If you have more time, take psilocybin. It's just like slowly changing up your programming. You basically, they talk about we have filters in the brain, and then through these sort of methods, natural methods, obviously, like ayahuasca or psilocybin mushrooms, they basically are like plant teachers. And actually, they say in the past it helped the humanity to be better hunters, to have a better senses and invent things and language and so on. Like, imagine you are that some of the first humans on the planet, like, who started using language.
Yeah.
Like, you think like how much we evolved now.
Yeah.
We have our products in the space now.
Yeah.
We have internet, and so I'm a big believer in progress, and I think we're gonna benefit hugely from the fact that we're walking on the shoulders of giants in a way that if you use your phone and you can text your friends immediately all around the world, it's only because of thousands and thousands of genius people who spent hours and hours experimenting and bringing this technology together. So that is something I'm grateful for. And I think we are still gonna see some amazing things in the next few years, because if you look back on the last 30 years, like I remember in my lifetime, black and white TV, no remotes.
Jesus, yeah.
Now look at our recording devices here and sharing the podcast with, hundreds or thousands or millions of people, as some more successful people
TV
do.
studios didn't have so good a part. Like, they needed way more stuff, and it was like nowhere close.
We're moving, and that's why now, like, my big goal is to be sort of not ever worrying about money, and to do things I enjoy and I love and I'm passionate about, and whatever that is that fulfills me, and not to worry about money, because I really believe in abundance. And sometimes people don't see the abundance because they hate their life and they are in a 9-to-5 job, or they don't have a job and they just mentally not really there.
What do you mean with abundance?
Abundance is just something that things come to you. It could be, let's say, you want to travel somewhere, so you have enough money to live somewhere for a couple of months. Abundance that you have enough income to multiple incomes, and so you don't have to be slave to one company that is using you, abusing you, not treating you well.
Yeah, like you would have 9 to 5 whenever you're not on. Like, you just like cool.
Slave.
You can have once a year. Well, once a year you can have holiday, and rest of the time you have to be in work, and you're not the one who makes a call. Like, it's not like it was like I want to take extra off because I saved up something or whatever.
I think we're moving more into freelancing and all that stuff. At least that's what I see. I know there's still a lot of jobs, like if I go to Lidl, somebody has to be at the checkout. Well, do they have to be at the checkout? Maybe not necessarily, but somebody definitely, somebody or something has to bring the food on the shelf so I can pick it up.
Yeah.
So there's still lots of businesses. And I mentioned that with Chris in the last podcast that the AI is going to start to take over certain jobs like drivers' jobs, truck drivers, and a lot of repetitive factory jobs. So I would always remind people already, like, start working on your skills. So if you start losing these jobs, you already had 2, 3, 4, 5 years ahead of the time that you can move and start doing stuff.
Absolutely, yeah. But it's coming, definitely. AI is like getting better and better, and I'd say at some point somehow we're gonna benefit from it as well. We've been benefiting so far, and it's not like it was like, oh, replacing humans. Something is like, no, to make the things more efficient and safer.
Yeah, well, in a way, they will allow society to have more abundance because if we can produce enough of your everyday stuff, if the food is grown is at a higher rate, if your stuff that you need in your everyday life or for your hobbies is coming at cheaper price or coming at higher rate of production, then like what we're gonna do with our time if we actually are more freed up from the heavy boring labor that still a lot of people, and obviously our Western society is using the cheaper countries, poorer countries economically to leverage their cheaper workforce for our benefits as well. So, and we can see that this distraction of that, disturbance of that now with COVID and supply and demand. There's a huge demand and supply is limited, and we just realize like when you can't get certain products like in computers, like graphics cards, for example, or for the last year, like barely can you buy it, and it's overpriced. We only now realize how we depend on this global ecosystem of producing stuff,
Yeah, but it's like it had a huge impact, like globally, like in general. There was a lot of, I'd say, positive outcomes of that pandemic. It was like being locked down, and we needed to adapt. Everybody needed to adapt. Redial. If you came out of it not improving yourself and learning something in some type of way, I was like, you wasted the time, big time. Like you needed to get some lessons away for yourself. Whatever it was, go mental crazy and reborn again and realize like, fuck, this was awful. It was like, if this shit goes down, it was like, I need something. Maybe you didn't have savings, maybe you didn't have paid, and now you realize there was like,
oops,
it could go down whenever again, and I have to change that. I have to work on that. You have to.
I still believe it makes us stronger in a way, and also like when we fix our society a little bit after the damage, and we realize there's a huge polarization as well. You see like when the COVID came out, the chaos, the distraction, the looting, especially in USA, but
time.
in other countries too. But you can see that where the society is if it pushes its buttons.
Yeah.
If you push the buttons, you realize who is in your country, who is in your neighborhood.
Yeah.
And I think in Ireland we were really good.
Yeah.
Really good. Like if you look at these different movements in USA, and they were like absolutely trashing their towns and just taking it, you can see the disconnect between people.
Like especially that organized, and they're pulling in just to hype it up, to make it happen actually. To kind of to give approvals like, hey, yeah, we're doing this. I was like, it wasn't in our head, but okay, once we emotionally evolved, it was like, let's go for it. And then it like goes down. And weirdly enough, it's been like since the centuries, I think so, hundreds of years ago, they've been all the time sending somebody in and just provoking is like all those interactions. It's like, it's been all the time there. And it was like, that's good. And then throwing stone into the water, it was like, look, monster. It was like, did anybody see? It's like, no. There was like, but you just have to say it, and they will believe it. So that's one of the craziest stuffs, as well.
Anyway, we covered so much stuff.
Yes, sir.
I think we're gonna wrap it up right here.
Yep.
Andris, thank you so much for joining me on this podcast.
Thank you indeed for having me.
Yeah, that was a real pleasure to have you. And I hope we'll have you again soon. We can discuss different topics. And have a good day, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you, man. I'll see you soon.
Thanks.
Bye.